right, y'all, we are finally back in the car after a little hiatus. Glad to be back in the car, and we are on Molasses Ferry Road in Mount Pleasant, going under Interstate 526. Over to the left is East Cooper Hospital, fairly new, and then we're turning right into Hamlet Square. And Hamlet Square is a neighborhood that was built between 1996 and probably 99. It's about 40 houses back here. Average square foot is probably around 2,000, 2,300 square feet. And mainly a lot of 3 and 4 bedroom houses. You know, the one thing about this neighborhood is its proximity to 526. You know, as we'll ride through here, y'all probably think, you know, it's quite an attractive neighborhood, but I think it's important to remember that the proximity to interstate, you are going to pick up some road noise. I mean, it's not terrible road noise. I can't hear it right now with the windows up. Victorian, low country style houses, even some Charleston singles. Your HOA back here is around $425 a year, and it doesn't have any amenities. Again, it's just a small little pocket neighborhood, but it's in a great location. Again, right off Molasses Ferry Road. You can be in downtown Charleston in about 10 minutes. It's easy access to the beach, as most everything is in Mount Pleasant. But again, this is Hamlet Square. It's on Molasses Ferry Road in Mount Pleasant, South Carolina. And we're gonna head down to our next neighborhood in just a second. All right, y'all, so we are heading out of Hamlet Square and we're going down Molasses Ferry Road towards Charleston. So the run we're gonna make today is more or less straight down Molasses Ferry going south. And we're gonna hit probably about a dozen neighborhoods as we run through here. But Molasses Ferry is a thoroughfare to keep you off of 17. 17 is over to our left. I use this road a lot when I go to downtown Charleston. There's no traffic lights on this road except when you get to the very end. There's, I think, 4 traffic circles, so it kind of keeps things moving. Again, close to East Cooper Hospital. It's very centrally located, and again, it's an artery that you would use a lot if you lived in Mount Pleasant to get off of 17. We're getting ready to turn into Wakandal Lakes. So Wakandal Lakes is an older community. It was probably established in the 70s, and you know, a lot of the homes built in the 80s and 90s, and I think it was finished up in 1995. Again, off Clements Ferry Road. Fairly big size lots for these houses. I mean, these are at least a third of an acre. Some of them are probably half an acre. You know, more traditional styles. You have some brick ranches back here. You have some southern style houses with big porches, but a lot of the houses back here are kind of reflective of the time they were built, which is, you know, mainly the 1970s and 1980s. The smallest house back here is about 1,800 square foot, and I think the biggest house is probably pushing 4,000 square feet. Wakandal Lakes is on a lake. It's a, you know, lakefront community as well as being a marshfront community. And this would be a good neighborhood if your kids were going to Trident Academy. There's a cut through here that allows you to walk your kids to Trident. So if you're looking, you know, for something in proximity to that, this is definitely an option. Some of these houses actually have docks. You know, this is definitely not a lake that you're going to be able to go out and, you know, drive a speedboat through. But if you're a boater and you just want to kind of tool around, you know, really good tree coverage back here. A lot of these neighborhoods, you know, off of Molasses Ferry Road are, again, older neighborhoods, so you're going to have more mature trees than what you do in some of the, you know, if you go further up into the new neighborhoods. I like Wakandal Lakes a lot. We actually looked at buying a house back here before we bought our last house, and I think from a location standpoint, you know, any of these neighborhoods we're going to hit today, Wakandal Lakes included, is in a primo spot. If you're going to be in Mount Pleasant, you're skirting a lot of the traffic by being off of Molasses Ferry Road, especially if you have to go to downtown Charleston every day and you have a budget of at least, I don't know, $500,000, you probably need to look in this neighborhood and the neighborhoods we're going to hit as we roll through here. All right, y'all, so we're going to head out of Wakandal Lakes, again, in Mount Pleasant, South Carolina, and we're going to head down to Point Pleasant next, and we'll be there in a minute. All right, so we have left Wakandal Lakes and we're heading into Point Pleasant. And Point Pleasant, honestly, is a very similar neighborhood to Wakandal Lakes. It is very conveniently located. It's a creek side setting, so some of these homes sit back on the creek. This is a little bit bigger than Wakandal Lakes. I think there's 130 homes back here, and they were built, you know, 1970s to, I think they finished up in the 1990s. You know, you don't have any amenities in this neighborhood, which can be a plus or minus. You know, it's less HOA fee, but then again, you don't have a neighborhood pool. And today is a recycling day, so generally you don't have a bunch of blue cans sitting out on the road, so factor that in. But, you know, a lot of these houses, you wouldn't think Mount Pleasant, as being as flat as it is, would have, you know, some of this raised, but some of these little hills these houses sit on top of is not something that's very common, honestly, in too many neighborhoods in Mount Pleasant. Most everything's kind of flat. Houses back here at the time of the shooting range anywhere from the $450, $500 range on up to $800,000. Again, it just depends on your square footage. And these are a lot larger lots. You'll find some of these sitting on a ½ acre or more. And again, some of them have docks, and the tide is out today, unfortunately, so we won't probably get a whole lot of good views of the marsh. But again, Tidal Creek leads out to the Wando River, and you can be out in the ocean. So you could be out to the ocean in probably 30 minutes from this neighborhood via a boat. And you're under 10 minutes to downtown Charleston. Trader Joe's, Whole Foods, all within a probably 7 to 10 minute drive of where we are. And the new Dick's Sporting Goods going up across the street, or across 17, which is just up the way. So again, this is Point Pleasant in Mount Pleasant, South Carolina. And we are going to head down to the next neighborhood here in a second, which is Somerset Point. All right, so continuing down Mathis Ferry Road and heading into Somerset Point. And Somerset Point, very well-established neighborhood. Again, off Mathis Ferry Road, 52 single-family homes approximately that are built back here. Built between the 1970, mid-1970s to mid-2000s. There are, again, a fewer new homes back here. These are much larger lots than what you're going to see in, again, most neighborhoods. As we'll get down to Ion and some of the other, newer neighborhoods in Mount Pleasant later, you're going to see that this is, lot size, tree coverage. This is a pretty good setup. And you actually have some pretty large houses back here. The biggest house that at least I've ever seen in MLS is about 6,000 square feet. So you have, much bigger houses than you're going to have in some neighborhoods in Mount Pleasant. But I think it's a very pretty neighborhood. It again is oriented to the creek, so some of the houses over to our left set up against a tidal creek, and some, it's a shallow tidal creek. It would be something you could kayak out of for sure, and with the right type of boat, you could get out to a deeper part of the creek and fish and boat and stuff like that. But it's very pretty. You can see the moss hanging from the trees. It's very well cared for neighborhood, and in a primo location as far as getting to where you need to get if you're working at the medical university anywhere in downtown Charleston, and you have a budget of probably $600,000 to some of these are probably $1 million that are on the water. This would be a great place to consider. So guys, this is Somerset Point, again still in Mount Pleasant, South Carolina, off of Mathis Ferry Road, super close to Charleston, and we're going to take you guys on down to another neighborhood here in just a minute. All right, back on Mathis Ferry Road, and we're gonna just jump into a little neighborhood that was built, I think, in 1995 and finished up in 1999. It's called Queens Row, and these homes, there's only about 30 of them back here. They're actually pretty good floor plans. They're pretty wide open. I guess they were built in the 90s, so they were starting to think about, more functional floor plans. Houses back here, generally about 350 to 450 range, and 3 to 4 bedrooms, 2.5, 3 baths. They have nice screen porches off the backs, and they're wooded. They back up to the Publix grocery store, but again, there's a big tree line buffer, so you can't even really see the store. The only thing I point out to people, and when I've shown people houses in here, is you do have Mathis Ferry right there, so you are going to pick some road noise up. It's not going to be anything I think that you'll probably find to bother you too much, but the plus side is you can be in downtown Charleston in under 10 minutes. And again, that's Queens Row, and we are just going to hop up and go into Heron Point here in just a second. All right, here is Heron Point, one of my favorite kind of little tucked away neighborhoods. You wouldn't know what's here because there's not a lot of houses that you can see from Mathis Ferry, because you've got this nice green space that you drive back through. Community of about 64 homes, I think, built between 1986 and I think the last home was finished up in the late 80s. So you're going to find a little bit older architecture back here. Some floor plans or some houses have been updated, and fairly good square footage. I think the smallest house back here is about 2,300 square feet, but most of the houses range in 3,000 to 3,500 range. And some of them back up to the 5-acre Lake Heron, which we'll see here in a second, and it has marsh views. It really is an ideal place to live in Mount Pleasant. A lot of greenery, good lot size. Back here in Heron Point, there are not any amenities. Your nearest amenity center would be, You could join the Ion Club, which has swim and tennis. So it's, it has some amenities nearby, but again, the plus side of not having amenities is you're going to have a very small homeowners association, and I want to say it's maybe $300, $400 a year, and that's really just to keep up the common area in the front. You see over to our right, this is Lake Heron. Again, it's a lake that you could get out kayak on and get a small little motorboat. You could get out, do that. It's a freshwater lake. It does probably has some salt water in it. Maybe not a lake I would personally swim in, but I guess you could, you could get out and have some fun. And again, we are in Heron Point in Mount Pleasant, South Carolina, and we're going to head down from here to one of my favorite neighborhoods in Mount Pleasant, which is called Old Park, and we'll be there in a couple of minutes. All right, so we've left Heron Point and we've headed just a little further south down Molasses Ferry Road. So one of the best neighborhoods, honestly, certainly in Mount Pleasant, one of the better neighborhoods in all of Charleston on the high-end scale, and that's Old Park. Not to be confused with Old Mount Pleasant, two different neighborhoods, but Old Park is a neighborhood of about 100. These are all custom-built or spec custom-built houses that were built probably, late 90s on up until recently. I mean, some of these houses were built in the, 2014, 2015. You're talking about at least $1 million for a house back here. I mean, the last time I saw something sub $1 million for sale back here was like during the recession. So it's very strong real estate for this particular neighborhood, and I don't know that there's even a house for sale back here right now. They turn over pretty fast, again, with only 100 of them. And a high-end setting like this, and these homes on the inside are really finished as well as you're going to find. Most houses in Mount Pleasant are not going to have finishes as good as many of the houses you're going to find here. And the other thing a lot of people like about Old Park, besides its proximity to Charleston, is the fact that these are bigger square foot houses. These houses at least 4,000 square feet on average, and some of them I've been in have been over 7,000 square feet. So very big houses. A lot of them have pools. Some of these homes actually set up where they're on deep water. There's a couple of houses back here. I showed a house a couple of years ago that was on the market for like $4.5 million, and it was on deep water. I mean, true deep water. They had like a 35-foot boat in the back. It was just, it was awesome. We're gonna ride back that way. This bridge is kind of cool. This back part, we're on Old Salt Run, and Old Salt Run is kind of where I guess the most expensive houses exist in Old Park. And we're going over just a little tidal creek, and again, the tide's out. Generally, you're gonna have water back here, so it's extremely pretty vistas. This ties into Ion. So this neighborhood is not part of Ion, but it shares a common road, so you can get from Ion into this neighborhood and vice versa. It doesn't have neighborhood amenities, but it does have the ability to join the Ion Club, which offers tennis and swim. But again, in Old Park, high-end luxury, one of the best in all of Charleston, and certainly one of the best in Mount Pleasant. If you're looking for brand new, newer construction and luxury, this is probably a good place to start if you have $1 million budget or more. And from here, we're going to head to Ion in just a minute. All right, so just down from Old Park is Ion, and we're running in another one of these traffic circles, which again, I love. If you know how to drive in a traffic circle, I think they're great for moving things along. Again, pulling into Ion is really one of the coolest neighborhoods I think that I've been in probably in the United States. I think it's just got a uniqueness to it that you don't find in a lot of places. You've got commercial up front, Square Onion, you've got a Irish pub, you've got a coffee house, and then you drive into this neighborhood and you've got, just these really neoclassical, old-looking houses over to our left, kind of made to mimic Rainbow Row. So it's, just has a design element to it that you just don't see, really. If you go to the peninsula of Charleston, you see this type of architecture, but it's 200 years old. And these homes back here in Ion, generally, were built in the late 1990s. Most of them built in 2000 to probably, up until now. There's still some new construction. I'm actually going to try to take y'all. We've been through this neighborhood a lot before in other tours we've done and other videos we've done over the years. So what I'm going to try to do is take you down some streets that we haven't taken you down through. And we are going to go by the lake just to give you a grasp of where that is. But I kind of want to take you and run you down some different roads. Over to our left is Maybank Green. And this is just, a a lot of Ions built around parks, and this is one of their little park areas that Maybank Green is built around. Homes back here range anywhere from, gosh, 1,200 square feet on up to 6,000 or 7,000 square feet. Most of the homes back here probably if you had to average it, probably about 3,500 square feet on average. A lot of them are wood siding. Some of the newer homes, they allow them to build hardy plank or use hardy plank, which is a wood cement composite on the side of the houses, which is, if you get a newer house, probably 2010 maybe or newer, you're going to find that it's a hardy plank finish as opposed to a wood sided finish. And again, wood siding is going to have a little more maintenance to it. And this neighborhood, the design elements of it were pulled in from, countries in Europe and just a lot of places. I think Boston, Massachusetts. Vince Graham is the guy who oversaw this, and it's his brainchild. He did a YouTube video that was probably 8 or 9 years old, maybe more than that, and he explained this to basically the town of Mount Pleasant when he was, I guess, pitching to develop some more land back here. But very interesting the way that the streets are slightly offset to make people slow down, the way the canopy of trees on certain streets have grown, or the trees have grown to create a canopy, and it's just a very interesting neighborhood to me. It's also one of the more expensive neighborhoods in Mount Pleasant. You're looking at least, I think the least expensive house back here for sale right now is about almost $600,000. You have houses back here, on average, you're probably looking at $900,000, $850,000 at shooting of this video, price to live in Ion on average. And it does back up to Tidal Creek. None of these homes, to my knowledge, actually have their own private docks. There is the Ion Creek Club, which is in the back of the neighborhood, that allows you, deep water access. But this neighborhood is really one that, people, whether they're, raising a family here or they move here and they want to have quick proximity to Charleston, and even a lot of people own second homes back here because it's, you can be in downtown Charleston under 10 minutes. It's practically, no traffic between here and there. And Trader Joe's, Whole Foods right across the street. One of my favorite restaurants in all of Mount Pleasant, Langdon's, is in the Shelmore Village Shopping Center. So if you ever come to Mount Pleasant and you want to eat a really good meal, check it out, Langdon's Restaurant. All right, continuing on, and we're heading to the part of Ion that, is really, I think, picturesque. Beyond the houses we're riding past right now, and this is East Lake and West Lake. The neighborhood's built around these two central lakes that are tied together by canals. And just gorgeous houses, big oak trees, lots of palms. You've got a little amphitheater here. They have, little neighborhood concerts in. And it's just, one of the best neighborhoods, I think, that you could possibly end up in if you have the budget for it. And people often ask when I ride them back here, what's the starting price for houses on the lake? You're looking at about $800,000 or $900,000 for a house on the lake. And again, the canal that is out to our right connects East Lake and West Lake together. And you do have the Ion Creek Club back here, and you also have the Ion Swim and Tennis Club. And this neighborhood has won all kinds of national building awards, Prism Building Awards, which is really a highly rated award. And you've got a swimming platform over to the left. But again, we're in Ion and Mount Pleasant, and it's one of the top luxury neighborhoods in Charleston area. And I'm happy to give you guys a personal tour of this anytime you're in town. And we're going to head to another kind of sister neighborhood of Ion. It's called Braymore, and we'll be there in a few minutes. To give you perspective on where we are, we're on Molasses Ferry Road. We're about, I would say, a half a mile to downtown Charleston from where we are. 17 is out to our left on the other side of this tree line. All right, so pulling into Braymore, and Braymore is a sister community of Ion. They actually share a common road. You have no amenities back here, but you can join the Ion Creek Club if you want to. So it's between Ion and Molasses Creek, which we're going to go into next. Braymore is derived, it's from a Scottish word, bray, which means hillside, especially on a river. So we are sitting very close to a river right now, and it's a Scottish name, Braymore. So you have lower HOA fees back here. You could, like I said, you could join the Ion Club, or you could also join the Hobcaw Yacht Club, which is just a neighborhood up from us. So if you're, you're a boater, or you want to be a member of a club and you like Braymore, this is, is certainly something you can do. It's 21 heavily wooded lots and houses. There are, again, very similar to what you see in Ion. As we pull through Braymore, we're actually back in Ion and we're going to turn around. But again, Braymore, located in Mount Pleasant, South Carolina, homes range in anywhere from probably a $700,000 to $900,000 range, and you've got 3,000 to 4,000 square foot homes back here. And we are going to head across the street and leave Braymore and go into Molasses Creek next. All right, so we're just hopping over from Braymore and heading into Molasses Creek. And Molasses Creek is a really cool neighborhood. I mean, for me it is. I think we tried to buy a house back here a couple of times and ended up not getting the contract ratified, unfortunately. But Molasses Creek, 140 plus homes back here, built in the 1970s, 80s, and I think they finished up some of these in the 90s. Fairly big size houses. You got houses upwards of 5,000 square feet, and home prices back here for something that needs to be rehabbed, you're looking at $500,000, and then homes that are on bigger lots and don't need to be rehabbed, you're looking at potentially over $1 million. Again, wide streets. You don't have sidewalks here, but you have great tree coverage. And Molasses Creek does not have an amenity center. A lot of the amenity centers were built in these neighborhoods that are newer neighborhoods, and the older neighborhoods tend to not have been a part of what they, originally planned. But you can see as we're riding through here, just really pretty streetscape, and a lot of green space. They have little parks back here. We're 5 minutes or less to the Ravenel Bridge. So if you're working at the medical university, working at one of the business in downtown Charleston, this would be an ideal place to consider. There are a few new homes that have been built back here recently. I saw some that hit MLS and they sold pretty fast, but again, for the most part, these homes were built in the 80s and 90s, and are creek front in spots and very heavily treed backyards. I think one of the most sought after neighborhoods, in this price point, below $1 million, it would have to be Molasses Creek. It's very popular. And from here, we're going to head out of Molasses Creek and we're going to go into Hobcaw Point, which is just right up the road, and we'll be there here in a few minutes. All right, so we just left Molasses Creek. We headed up the same road Molasses Creek is on, and we're heading into Hobcaw Point. And Hobcaw is a neighborhood, similar to, I think, Molasses Creek. I don't think it's as, as we're riding back in here, it's not as, I think, as upscale as Molasses Creek. There's a few more homes back here, and the price point is just a tad less. You are seeing a lot of people come in and buy these older homes, these ranch homes, and redo them because of, again, proximity to Charleston. We're less than 5 minutes to, being on the bridge to downtown. Again, good tree coverage. Some of the houses back here sit on at least a half an acre lot. There is, in the back of the neighborhood is the Hobcaw Yacht Club, which we'll be coming to in here in a second. Homes back here range anywhere from probably 2,000 square feet to, I think, probably on up to 4,000 or 5,000 square feet. And there are some homes that have, true deep water docks, which means you've got at least 6 feet of water at low tide. And those homes are in the back as we're heading back here. Again, this would be a neighborhood if you had a budget of at least probably $500,000 that I would say, and you needed to be close to Charleston. I would strongly consider Hobcaw or some of the other neighborhoods we've ridden through that are off of Molasses Ferry Road. We've driven to the back of Hobcaw, and you can see as we're spinning through here, out in the distance is the Wando River and the bridge to Daniel Island. Again, Hobcaw is a swim and boating club, and it sits on the banks of the Wando River, and it's been around for a long time. It's been around probably, I would guess, since maybe the 1970s. And it's a fairly affluent crowd that goes here. I mean, you're looking at the facade of the building and probably thinking it's not that nice. This is a pretty good club to belong to. It's not overly expensive. Again, it's just a swimming and boat club. So if you live, off of Molasses Ferry Road and you live in a neighborhood that doesn't have amenities and your kids need a pool or you like to boat, Hobcaw is a really good spot to consider. And that puts a wrap on what we are going to do in Hobcaw today. Again, Hobcaw Point is in Mount Pleasant, South Carolina, off of Mathis Ferry Road and only minutes to downtown Charleston. Okay, so we're heading to Scanlandville. Scanlandville is really historic. I mean, this was bought by a freedman, carpenter, Robert Scanlon, in 1868. So this is slave property, more or less. All this was, he purchased, and when the slaves were freed, a lot of them settled here. And this neighborhood over time has been changed over. They're, building new houses back here. For single family housing, this is about as close as you're going to get. If you've got to be as close as you can be to the bridge, this is probably one of the neighborhoods. Again, it's being changed over. You're starting to see, newer houses being built. We're continuing on in Scanlandville, and you can see over to the left, the bridge, the Ravenel Bridge going into downtown Charleston, to kind of give you some perspective on how close we are to the peninsula. Again, a lot of these houses, built in the, some of them dating back to the 1900s, but a lot of them were built probably in the 1950s and 1960s, and they're being torn down, and you're getting new houses built back here. You can buy land back here for probably, $200,000 for a quarter-acre lot, and some of the newer houses back here selling, $700,000, $800,000. We're going to just a little pocket neighborhood that I spent a lot of time in when it wasn't a neighborhood. The College of Charleston used to own this piece of land we're getting ready to come up to, which is River Reach at Remley's Point. And Remley's Point, it's very historic. It dates back, it's pre-Civil War, but the College of Charleston owned this land, and this is where the men's and women's soccer teams, when I was in college back in the 90s, played soccer out here. And you could always ride back here, and none of this obviously was built because the college still owned the land, but it was just, I always thought what a beautiful place it was because of the river views, and just, it's just such a great piece of property. But the college sold it off probably back in the 2000s, and they built this neighborhood, which consists of about 29 houses, 29 to 30 houses, and most of them quarter acre to half acre lot, kind of built around a little central water feature in the middle. Great oak trees. A few of the houses, that sit back here over right in front of us, and will be on your right as we turn through this little circle, actually sit on some pretty deep water. I mean, they sit on the Wando River, so you're literally right at the ocean from here. Houses, price range back here anywhere from $1 million to upwards of $3 million. And I mean, this lot, for instance, this vacant lot sitting to our right is on the market, I think, for 2.2. And I mean, it has a deep water dock, but it's not exactly a neighborhood that most people are going to find themselves in that price point. But again, this is River Reach at Remley's Point, and it is just a great little luxury neighborhood tucked back in Scanlandville in Mount Pleasant, South Carolina. We're heading into Remley Park, and Remley Park is just 8 home sites back here, so it's a very small neighborhood. It's brand new. They have built a couple of houses back here, but again, you can probably see there's some picnic tables, a little swing that's going to be a common area, and then they're site prepping these lots to build houses. Houses are going to probably range anywhere from, I would say, the 7s to the 9s, just because of their location, but very heavily treed lots. And this is Remley Park. No homeowners association. You can join the Creek Club, an Ion, or even some clubs in downtown Charleston for that matter, because we're a couple minutes away. From here, we're going to go into Riverwatch, which is literally just across the street from Remley Park. Riverwatch, 29 or 30 so houses back here, and they were mainly built in the 2000s, and some of them still being built now. This is also a neighborhood. We looked at buying land back here because, again, the proximity to Charleston is so awesome. But in, I think, 2007 or 8, when we were looking, there weren't any houses back here, and we didn't want to move back here with a family and no houses. But you can see as we're riding through here, it's really starting to fill out nicely. A lot of kind of southern architecture. You've got the big front porches, the double porches in some cases, high ceilings in these houses, probably 10 or 11 foot ceilings. It's situated next to Molasses Creek, Tidal Creek, so you have some water access, I believe, back over to the left. And again, some new homes being built back here, anywhere from probably the sevens to close to $1 million, honestly, which is, you would think is kind of expensive for a neighborhood that doesn't have amenities. But again, Riverwatch at Remley's Point, phenomenal location, and we are very close to downtown Charleston. We are very close to downtown Charleston, almost at the foot of the bridge, and we're going to run through a little neighborhood called Sandpiper Point. And Sandpiper Point was built in the 80s and probably finished up in, I think, probably maybe early 90s. And these are townhomes and condos back here, so it's actually a pretty good, I think it's a pretty good value. The condos, you can get I think a 2 or 3 bedroom condo for, the 250, 275 range. The location of this is awesome. You could run the bridge every day if you wanted to. It's, I have clients that have bought condos back here, and they're runners, and they're able to run out of this neighborhood and over the bridge and into Charleston. So it's a great spot. There are some rentals back here too, occasionally. And what we're seeing is the neighborhood is changing over from an elderly population that I think lived back here early on to a population of a lot of younger people that have moved back here simply because the location in Sandpiper Point is so great. And from Sandpiper Point, we're just going to head into Eastbridge townhomes, and we're going to turn on the Wingo Way. So Wingo Way is right off of Molasses Ferry Road, and Wingo Way runs you right into the bridge up here. And as we go up to the next neighborhood, these are, very affordable Eastbridge condos, town lofts is what they call them. And I've had a lot of friends that, in college, and, even my programmer buddy from Ireland came over here and lived, and I rented him one of these while we were programming. But these were originally apartments, and they converted them to condos probably, 10 years ago, back during the last real estate boom. They had some roofing issues, or they were apartments that needed to be rehabbed. A lot of times apartments were turned into condos. Anyway, they had lawsuits, drove the prices down. Everything's been fixed here. You can see new roofs. They were replacing the decking here. And these are great spots if you're wanting to be close to Charleston. You can get these still, a 2 bedroom for, $150,000, $160,000. You do have a small pool back over here, and you have laundry facilities on site. Trader Joe's, Whole Foods, lots of shopping and restaurants are just a walk across the street from here. We're leaving Eastbridge Town Lofts in Mount Pleasant, South Carolina. All right, guys, so we've headed out of Eastbridge, and we're going into just a really small patio home community. It's called Heron Lake, and Heron Lake, again, off of Wingo Way, and was built, 1995 to probably maybe the latest house built back here was early 2000s. There's a little Heron Lake in the back of some of these houses. And these are ideal if you want, something that's, small, one level. Most of these are single level homes, so you would have a master down. And, I think there's maybe 25 houses back here in Heron Lake. And prices as of shooting this video are in the $450, some in the maybe $500,000 range if they've had some rehab work done on them. And your square footage range in Heron Lake is about 1,500 to 2,000 square feet. We're going to do our last community in Mount Pleasant that we could do without running into the Wando River or running into Ravenel Bridge, and that is right in front of us, and that's called Harbor Watch. And Harbor Watch is, like I said, the closest community geographically to downtown Charleston. Homes back here range anywhere from 2,400 square feet to probably a little over 4,000. And price points at shooting this video, 800,000 on up to probably $1.5 million, $1.7 million. We'll pull through here and give you guys a little shot of the bridge to give you perspective on where we are compared to Charleston. Over to our left is the Ravenel Bridge. And here back in Harbor Watch, there are about 67 homes, and you can probably see over to the left, there are very few lots left, some new construction. And a few of these houses, I sold a house back here a couple of years ago, and it actually had a dock on the Wando River. So there's a few of these houses that are actually, you could push a boat off of, or tie a boat up to the dock. They're very long docks in most cases. I think we shot a video back here some time ago, but you're talking about 200 or 300 foot docks at least, maybe even more than that. Again, panoramic views of downtown Charleston. Super great location. And this is Harbor Watch in Mount Pleasant, South Carolina. That kind of wraps us up for today. I hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll be back with you again soon.